Hi, this is Ndando. You're back with us on the Dynamic Kid TV. We're still here with my mentor, Chinezi Chijioke, and this is part 2. So what I really wanted to ask you about is governance and leadership. So far in our continent, in Africa, there has been few countries where the economy and the politics has been mismanaged. So what do you believe that a leader needs to have, especially in the coming future where the kids that come to this school and other schools that you have built will become the presidents and become the leaders of tomorrow?
You do well to frame governance as a core challenge which we've wrestled as a continent. Mm-hmm. And I think while the generations that have preceded us have done won many victories for us, I think that's one where our track record has not been great, right? But it's not just about government. It's in all sectors, in business, and particularly the rise of influence of big businesses and soon social media as well. Governance in any influential sphere becomes critical. So the leadership of those social media, the leadership of labor movements, the leadership of political of government are all really important that we get right. And so when we think at Nova Pioneer of innovators and leaders, we don't just mean in government, we mean in any pursuit. In academia, to the extent that academia is going to continue to exert influence, leadership there is critical. And so the range of characteristics on this is it's sort of a lifelong study to reflect on what the key characteristics of leadership are, but ultimately we need ethical leadership. Right, and so in Nova Pioneer we talk about character, and those are anchored in our 6 culture principles. We need capable leaders who can work with others to solve problems, and so that's where we think about collaborative problem solving. It's hard to solve problems if you can't generate that among others or do that yourself. And the third is connection. We actually need Pan-African connection, folks who can build connection, countries that are working together, communities that are working together, towns that are working together, businesses that are working together. That connection, and so when we talk about the 3 C's of an innovator, character, capability, and connection, it's because those are the fundamentals of really capable and ethical leadership that we need.
Now, I see that you grab some influences from people like Socrates, as you said from the beginning, who did believe in such things for Western civilizations. Mm-hmm. And I believe that some of those things we may need to adopt. So speaking of academia, what books in turn did you like to read? And and I know as time goes, your taste in books may change. So what types of books have you enjoyed reading? For myself, I've enjoyed reading mainly business books and mainly books about other people who have succeeded in life, because that's what I aspire to do, to become that person for my generation at least, and to inspire other people to do what they can to succeed. So what types of books do you like reading, and has your taste in books changed?
It has, and it's a fantastic question, because I think books have such wealth, not just for what they give, but what you can get from it. Because whenever you read, you're active, you're bringing your own experience and meaning to it. And so more than any passive tape on radio or what have you, like actually reading books is hugely enriching. So fantastic question, and I know you're an avid reader and voracious reader, so that's fantastic grounding and anchoring. I think, yes, it has changed it has evolved over time, but I think there are really 3 main threads. One is I've always loved biographies. I perhaps it's the learning from the examples of others' lives. So whether it was Mandela's Long Walk to Freedom, or right now I'm reading Shoe Dog, which is Nike's Phil Knight's personal biography. And so I've always just really enjoyed biographies, because I think it's also about learning about people and their lives. The second sort of thread of books I liked is literature, but I picked in school. It was always I enjoyed individual books, but I got voracious about it in college when I realized learning is for me, not for school. When I realized that, all of a sudden I just started reading, and I remember one that I always studied was Richard Wright's Native Son. It's one of the best books ever, and so you've got to read it. Whatever society one is from, it's just an amazing piece of literature, and so literature became something that I really enjoy reading. And sometimes those 2 things come together in a book like I'm reading now called Shantaram. It's a story of a man, an ex-convict who lives an amazing life from Australia through India through Afghanistan, and it's fascinating. So I really enjoy that. And then the last thread, so there's sort of biographies, there's literature. The last thread is what I'd call the right book at the right time. I don't know how else to say it. The one that stands out for me is The Alchemist. It was a book that I encountered at a time in my career when I was feeling off my path, and something in me like reached out and read that book, and it became a fantastic navigator, a shepherd for me, you know. And so there are a couple books like that, but that one in particular that has been the right book at the right time.
I grab a lot of influence from the types of books you read. I'm also looking to get my hands on Shoe Dog as well. I believe that, as you say, reading biographies is important because you get to know the lives that people have led before. And I see that many people get discouraged when they go on a certain path, but then when they find out that someone has gone that same path they have gone and they have made it to the other side, it gives them inspiration. For example, I also read The Alchemist. I read it here at school, and it gave me knowledge, and it gave me a path to say, you know what, whatever I want in life, if I want to search for meaning in my own life, I have to create it. Because he finds that, in that book, he finds that the journey was more important than what he was looking to find, because he found more in that moment of moving across. He found love, he found knowledge, and the destination isn't really the place you should be looking for, as you said before. For me, I've seen that as well. My journey after writing my book has been a great journey, as short as it's been so far, but it's been a great journey learning how other people have done things and meeting new people especially, because when you meet new people, you get new mindset and you get a new hindsight into what other people can take from you and what you can take from them. So as a last question, when it gets into more Chinezi when you're not working. So what would you typically do, like during vacation? We know you have a busy day. Yes, having a busy day. We share similarities in that. Maybe mine not as busy as yours, but when you're not working, what is it that you're doing in order to rest and also to refresh your mind, especially now that we've begun the new year? So what were you doing when we were in the middle of that?
I was going to say not enough, because as you said, we tend to work long hours and many days. So it often takes me a little while to unwind in that way. But there are really a few things that really bring additional sustenance to me, because I do get sustenance and energy from my work. That's why I do it. But there are a few other things, yes. One is time with family. I've got an 8-year-old daughter, and just having time to disconnect and think with her, play games, read books with her. That's a real source of energy, revitalization. A second is exercise. I love sports. I've developed a new love of running, but particularly soccer, squash, basketball. It always clears the mind and builds my energy. And then I like the quietude of reading or of silent reflection. I grew up in a Quaker family, so I'm Quaker, and we have a tradition of silent worship. And I have never spent a quiet half hour or a quiet hour that I regretted. I've never taken the time to be quiet by myself for half an hour that I didn't say, man, that was really well spent. And so those are sort of the set of things that I think that bring me balance and additional energy.
So I'd like to thank you for having us, and good luck with more in everything that you do. I hope we can meet more often, and soon we'll probably have you on the show to have a follow-up to see what you've been doing since this interview. And for me, it's always been a pleasure to meet you. Every time I meet you, I learn something new.
Likewise.
So to our viewers, thank you guys for having us, and hope to see you soon with our next Dynamic Hero.
Thank you, Tanda.
Thank you.